Welcome to another episode of Upleveled. I have here a good friend, KD Cheatham. Is that how you say it?
Cheatham. It's
Cheatham.
like Cheatham County if you're
Cheatham.
from Tennessee.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
not. Very far from Tennessee. So
Yes.
KD Cheatham. And one of the things that when I met KD that stood out was the capacity that he had to talk to people. He was not just trying to talk to you fast and say, "Hey, how are you? Good. Let's move on to another person." Was the fact that he actually observed you and saw you for who you are, and he tried to actually get a real connection with you. And it's something that is not common nowadays. People don't have the patience. People just are trying to see what they can get out of everybody and how much they can. But you took the time to know me and my wife, and that is something that is not common nowadays. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's talk about you. Let's figure out where this character of KD Cheatham came from.
Yeah.
Cheatham, is that how you
Yeah.
say?
Cheatham.
Cheatham.
Yeah. It's okay.
Trying my best.
Like Cheatham.
Cheatham.
Cheatham. That's why sometimes I don't like to say it because they can say he gonna cheat me. So he Cheatham.
Cheatham.
Mhm.
Okay. So where are you from, man? Where you came
Here,
from?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow. So you're a unicorn.
That's what they say.
Wow.
Maybe I guess in another sense, but since I'm from here, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were born and raised here,
Mhm.
and you decided to stay here.
Mhm.
Yeah, tell me a little bit of your background. What did your parents did growing up? What do you like doing growing up? To kind of like get to where you are now.
What my mom, she was an entrepreneur. I think I like to give her credit for the ability for me to be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
She owned her own restaurant. It was actually on 8th Avenue. So y'all know where Zany's is, and when you pass the light and you go to the gas station, and they built those 4 or 5 units right there on the front, and then there's like the basement place. That white building on the corner across the street from a Tennessee Credit Union, my
Mhm.
mom used to own that building.
Wow.
Now I wish she would have had the foresight
To
to
keep it.
see.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, because she had that building for $329,000.
What?
I tell her all the time. I say, Mama, you know that building's worth $4 million. Like every year, I was like, you know that building's worth $2 million. You know that building's worth, and she's like, boy, I know. What was I supposed to do? I was like, figure it out, because the struggle is still real on my mama's side because it never really worked out. Her restaurant really never worked out, and then she had to transition a lot. You know, she had 6 kids, and she was a single mom, and I'm the oldest of 6 kids, so I'm the one that had to grit and bear. Like whenever she couldn't do something, I had to do it
For
And
the
so
restaurant.
for the restaurant, for my brothers and sisters, and I
Gotcha.
still would get my tail whooped if I didn't have okay grades, and that's one of the fights and stuff like that I had growing up, is trying to figure out how to be able to do everything. Because I was like, I gotta still take care of me. You know, I'm a kid, and then I have to take care of my mama and my brothers and sisters, or we're gonna lose. And I'm the sorest loser in the world. I'm okay with losing to grow, but I'm not okay with losing just to lose. I want to win. And so in life, I always tried to figure out, like, how can I win without complaining? Because I don't like a person who wins, but they complain the whole trial. It's like, and I tell my mama that all the time, like, Mama, we got to do something. The business is not working. It's not making enough money. We don't have enough customers in here. So let's give the food away. I was a kid saying this. Mama, let's give the food away. Just give it to them. Reason why is because she going to kill me if she sees this, and when she sees this, because it's going to be magnificent for you. You know, your life and what you're doing. And I hope that she sees this organically, because I'm not going to show her. But she would buy the stuff on food stamps and then she would sell it to people, because that's how she was able to have her restaurant. And I said, well, we're already getting it for free. Give it to the people for free so they can see. Because before Taco Bell was doing the Dorito nachos thing and all that stuff, my mama was doing that. She was doing the Dorito nachos, you know, the blue chips, the red chips. That was her thing. because it was called Tacos and More, or at first it was called Eatalicious,
Yeah,
and that's for
delicious.
you, mama. Eatalicious, it was hilarious. So and she was like, "Boy, you don't know what you're talking about. Just sit, go do this, go do that." You know, I had to work around and figure out stuff, but I always wanted to do for myself. So I guess this character that I have, or the person that I've became, I've learned through the trials and the pain of watching her, and then watching me, and then watching the people around me. I learned from everybody around me. So whenever you and I met, I don't want to know me. I know me. I want to know you, and how can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that a true king sacrifices the most. If I can serve you, the laws of reciprocity, if you're a king also, you'll serve me too. And so those are some of the lessons I've learned and I built up as a kid, and I seen it quickly.
That's awesome. So, as a teenager, what did you like to do? What were you obsessed about?
Honestly, making money.
Mm.
I made my first $100 in fifth grade, and I never looked back. I said, in fourth grade, first I gotta say this. In fourth grade, my life was so hard because we had this program called Accelerated Reader. And I told you I'd get a whooping if I didn't at least make a C. I know that was a low standards, but my mom was like, I ain't got time to deal with you, because she worked all the time. And Accelerated Reader was kicking my tail because I couldn't really read. And I didn't like to read. I hated it. I was like, this is so stupid. It's a waste of time. I don't want to know about, Captain Underpants. Well, it wasn't that at the time, but these
Mm-hmm.
dumb books, I didn't care about them. Not even Dr. Seuss. I didn't like it. I didn't even like cartoons. So in fourth grade, I've always believed in God. So I said, God, you know what? Help me. I'll read your book and your book only, but help me pass the test as if I read man's books. This was fourth grade.
Wow.
And so I would read the Bible every day. I don't really know what I'm doing, but then my granddaddy got my cousin a kid's Bible. So I would read the King James version, and then I would translate it through the kid's Bible. And then I started understanding more. And it was more so spiritual wisdom versus wisdom that we use in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remembered what I prayed and what I believe God would do for me, because I'm a wild believer. And I said, I'm going to read this every day. And then I'm going to go and take the test of whatever book. So I was in fourth grade. I just was testing it out. I tried to take a test on a fifth grade, because you can choose what level book you want to take a test on. And you can choose any book that the school had in the library. So I know I didn't read it, but I read the Bible today. So I would take a test. Fifth grade, I passed the test. I never read the book. I would just look at the questions, and then I would eliminate what makes the most sense and what is this book about. Because in an accelerated reader, it would give you a synopsis of the book, of whatever question they ask you. So I would just like, oh, that's what this book has to be about. You get the back of the book basically. And so I started passing these tests, and then I went up to where I'm a fourth grader, and it looks like I have an eighth grade reading level.
Mm.
And so I became this person in my school where I was the best reader, and I haven't read a book, but the book.
Wow.
And then I learned that. So in fifth grade, fast forward to where I got on this, I had to say that because it was important of how I learned. In fifth grade, I would see my mom working all the time and stuff like that, and I wanted to help. And so I had these video games that she would buy me. And then I sold my video games, and I made $100 by just selling my video games. And I get I didn't realize I was hurting her, because she was spending her money on video games, and I sold it just to make $100 so I can help her. And so I was like, hey, don't buy me nothing else. I said, look, if we figure out a way to get video games, that's what I was telling my mom, if you can give me video games and I can get it for a better price than these kids out here, because I moved to Laverne. That's Rutherford County for people that are not from here. That's like 20 minutes south of Nashville, right past Antioch. So from where we are, maybe 28 minutes. Anyway, so the kids that I grew up around, it was more diverse than what I had. So I grew up around black kids, had to, I got in trouble for talking this way because
Mm-hmm.
I communicated differently. So I was always fighting. So my mom was like, honest truth. She said, we got to get you around some white people because these boys is going to fight. And I'll fight every day. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to beat them up and I'll try to kill them. I don't care. Because that was my mindset. I was like, I'm not going to lose. And so they moved me there because my grandparents bought a house there. And my mom was like, the only place, this is what mom said when I said, we got to figure out a way to get video games. And she said, the only place you can get video games cheaper than the store is the pawn shop. So I started hanging around the pawn shop in 5th grade. And I started getting video games. So what people would trade in, I would see what they would get them for, what they, sell them for. And then I would go and try to sell them to my friends. I was like, are you playing, NFL Blitz? Are you playing this? I got that game. I'll sell it to you. Because it didn't mean anything to me. I was just trying to create money. And that's how I learned how to make money. And then from there, I said, Mom, I made $100 in a day. I said, I make more money than you today. We got to figure out something else in life. And that was the start of me growing up and learning from my mom and trying to figure out how to be an entrepreneur, regardless of it at all.
So what changed after you told your mama?
She said, boy, shut up. You think you know everything. And I said, Mom, I'm telling you, this is how it's supposed to be done. You have to do certain things. And then I get to keep the peace out of there. I said, if I do this enough times, then I'll make more money. And then she was like, yeah, but it don't always work like that. So my mom was an entrepreneur, but she didn't understand what it really took. I didn't understand what it took, but I was seeing in real life how to actually try to balance the two. And I will always have money. And then when you're that young and you got money, you become a little different. And even if it's $100, because that was a lot of money to me, now I realize that you can spend that literally when you go to the coffee shop and order for people of 4. So that's what changed me. And that's what she said. She was like, boy, you don't know everything. Shut up. That was how my mom was. Because I get it though. She was young. So she was probably my age whenever I was that age. See, she's 16 years older than me.
Wow.
So my mom had me when she was 16. So if I was 10 and she was 26. So she was young. I just thought about that just now. So she was young and just slow and didn't understand, but trying. And then here you have this 10-year-old saying, hey, I can do it better than you, but you got to help me figure out what I'm doing wrong. And so she was always telling me, shut up. You're always talking. As you can see, I pro-labeled a point to make sure it makes sense.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. So you were selling video games. You told your mom to try to help you on this. You said, no, go do you. And then what happened? How did your entrepreneurship career kept evolving? Take me to the teenage years, early 20s.
Okay, teenage years. Whenever I got in 7th grade, I've always wanted to have different stuff than other people. Because, the new shoes and all that stuff, Air Force Ones had just started to be hot. And my mom couldn't afford to get them and my siblings. So because I stayed around people that was doing better than me, in 7th grade, I would play people in basketball for money. So I know you don't like gambling, but I would bet on myself. That was me betting on myself. Because I'm like this, hey, I got $50. I bet you I can beat you in basketball. I won't do one layup. I'll play with only my left hand. I was really good in basketball. And people would take those bets. But I don't have $50. How much you got? You got 5? Let's bet 5. And then that's how I figured that out. And then 8th grade, I started to paint on people's Air Force Ones because Air Force Ones had came out. And my old Air Force Ones, I always wanted to wear a new pair. I started to paint on mine different colors, like what they do now. Literally, it's so funny because if I was smart, like Brian, the guy you had before, if I was smarter, then I would have scaled that business because I didn't know. But I would paint my shoes because I wanted to buy new shoes. So I'll put different colors on them, make whatever, and then I will sell those shoes so I can buy myself some more. And that was the business I had in 8th grade. And then I just carried that into 9th grade. When I got into high school, I started selling candy. And so I had candy and Capri Suns in my backpack. and then I would get special orders for people that wanted stuff on their shoes. And from whether it's SpongeBob or whatever, to, you know, just glitter and, you know, fancy shoes, whatever. People love shoes. So I would just, whatever they wanted, I would take their order and I would be in there. And my mom used to be like, boy, I had stacks of shoes. And any of my friends that are seeing this, I had stacks of shoes to the ceiling. And some of them, a lot of them was mine, but a lot of them was for customers. And people thought I was buying shoes for me. I never cared about that. I only cared that I had to market what I had. And this is what I understood. And this was easy for me because everything, you know, nobody was doing it. And I'm already in school. Might as well sell you some shoes that you want anyway. Mm-hmm. And then I might as well sell you candy that you want anyway. And then, you know, drinks and stuff like that. So I got to the point where I was making $50 to $100 a day as a ninth grader. Mouth full of gold teeth. I used to have gold teeth with diamonds, everything. My friends, they gonna be like, this, that was him. Long hair, diamond earrings. I was buying stuff. I had a car and I couldn't even drive.
Really?
Like,
you bought a car and you couldn't even drive?
I bought a car, couldn't, and how I got that, I had seen a guy that had a car and he never drove it. It was an old school car. It was a Monte Carlo. And I knocked on the door. I said, hey man, you never drive this car. Can I buy it from you? And his wife, I didn't know what it was at the time, but his wife was like, you can have it. I'm sick of this car. He's had a DUI. He can't drive anyway. She said, boy, let's sell it to that boy. And I was like, he was like, I'll give it to you. If you can get it off my lawn. He said, it just needs a carburetor. I didn't know what that was, but my cousin was a mechanic. So I called my cousin. Hey, can you come fix this car? We fixed it. We got a new carburetor. I spent like $114 something that between that. I want to say 114. I like numbers really clear. So I know what I spent because I ain't have a lot of money, but I was like, I got to get this car fixed. So I spent that much to buy the parts that I needed. My cousin fixed it in the guy's driveway and I drove it off.
Wow.
And he was like, and so I had a car and I parked it at my mama's house like, I'm 14 years old. I was like, yeah, mom, I got a car. I'm finna put rims on. She said, boy, you don't even got a license. I said, I ain't worried about that. I got a car.
How old were you?
14. 14 years old. So I would buy a lot of the things that I knew I shouldn't have, like from the gold to the diamonds and stuff like that. And that was the type of kid I was. I was just a silly kid.
That's awesome. So how was your early 20s?
Early 20s, it was good. At 15, I met the woman of my life that I thought about, which is she was the girl I wanted to be with. She was the only girl that I was going to marry. I was like, every other girl, y'all going to have to deal with me and my personality. This the woman I'm going to marry. I've known her since first grade. And every year she would tell me, no, I do not like you. And then finally, when I was 15, she gave me the time of day and we started dating. So we was dating all the way through high school. So it's high school sweethearts, if you call that. And at 21, I got married.
To her?
To her.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got married. And it was more so, I didn't want to get married for the sense of what everybody gets married for. Because I believe marriage is more than love. And if you only marry for love, then you find out it don't work that well. And so, because there's a servitude, there's a different heart in marriage. It's a business, it's a relationship. It's more that goes into it. And I've always seen it like that. And whenever I try to explain it to my now ex-wife, when I try to explain it to her, like, we need to get married later because I don't have nothing for you. I want to give to you. You know, you're my gift. I got to give, you know? And so she was like, no, but we can't stop fornicating. This is how I'm being transparent. We couldn't stop fornicating. And we wanted to do the right thing for God because I was like, the only thing that I got is God. Mm-hmm. Since from fourth grade, I was like, that's all I got. When I have nothing, I got God. I got Jesus. So I was like, okay, Lord, the word says it's better to marry than to burn with fiery passion. So I got married. And I was like, and God, you're going to bless this relationship. And so once we did that, we got married. The next year, we got pregnant and I had my son. And then from there, life changed for me. Because I was like, I gotta do so. I ain't got nothing for now. 2 humans. I was like, you can't pray your way into anything and nothing, all that. You can't pray your way to it. You're going to have to put your faith is in your feet. It starts here and then it changes here and then you got to have the guts to put it in your feet so you can go. And then once I was learning that process, I was trying to figure out what I need to do to take care of my family. I was in college. I went to Tennessee State. I was studying accounting. I didn't want to be that black kid that went to college and get a business management degree. And nothing wrong with, being a manager at a restaurant, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I go for it. And so I was like, I'm gonna study accounting, because even if I fail, I'll always have, be able to work and produce something. And so I did that, went to school for accounting, but then I wanted to be in my kid life because my dad wasn't there. Notice I didn't bring him up because I didn't know him. The first time I ever seen my dad, I was 14.
Wow.
So I didn't know him. And the second time I've ever seen him, I was 30. So I literally only seen my dad twice besides Facebook. When he added me on Facebook, he found me on Facebook when I was 30. It was like, I got to see you. Anyway, so I didn't know a lot of things. A lot of my stuff is trial and error through the fight. And so whenever I was growing up in that, I wanted to be around my kid. And so my wife at the time, her mom had an in-home daycare. And I always admire her because she was an entrepreneur. She was making money for herself, helping her husband. Her husband worked at a factory job. And she only had a certain amount of kids she can keep in the in-home daycare so she don't get in trouble. And I said, how many kids do they allow you to have? And she was like, they only allow me to have 7. That's the max I can have. And I said, and why don't you do more? She was like, they won't allow me. I said, who is they? I hate that, by the way. And she was like, the state. I said, then let's figure out a way to have more. So she was like, I don't know how to do that stuff. So now I have something to do. I have value to add. I started looking up what it would take to own a daycare, the stuff that you need to do. And then I wanted to add something on there to add value to not just be a daycare. So I went to a couple of schools around the city, a couple of private schools around the city, and I offered a grant program to where if these kids come from our school and we use y'all's curriculum, can y'all give them money off of their tuition for private school? And this was 2011. They said yes. And so now I have a yes with 2 of the biggest, well, they weren't the biggest school, but 2 big private schools in the city that is going to allow me to purchase their curriculum. And then now I can teach 4, 5, 6-year-olds. We have 4 through 12, but we had 4-year-olds that will go through our program, and then it will push them off to be better suited for their life education. And so now I knew that. And then I found a building, and I was in accounting. So I was like, I'm going to set up. I learned the EIN number. I learned what all of that stuff was. And I got all this stuff. And I said, hey, we can move to this building. Talk to the people that owned the building. They was like, oh yeah, we'll let y'all move. It hadn't been rented since 2007. So they was happy to get anybody in that thing. Mm-hmm. They was like, yes, come in, bring us some money. We need, and I didn't know at the time. I wish I was smart at the time also, because that was my first introduction to hearing about something of real estate. I didn't even know what real estate was, but I didn't know then either. But now I understand why they were so happy. So they got a tenant in. We got this place. We got into this place. We got approved by the state of Tennessee. And so now we have the capacity to have 30 kids. But with me being how I am, I'm a little weird. It wasn't just a normal daycare. I said, but we're not going to charge just like what the normal daycare is charged. We're going to pay our employees more than everybody pays, more than the average daycare. At the time, it was $7.25. We was paying $9.25. And then after the first 6 months, we'll give you $10 an hour. I know that's not a lot, but that was a lot at that time, 2011. And so, but we're also going to charge the parents $300. So what everybody, I was a part in starting that. People will pay $300 a week for their kid to get good, education. It's not just a daycare where they're watching Looney Tunes all day. They actually have some structure. They're building up. The school is instilling into the young kids, the annoying 2-year-olds, the annoying little 18-month-old. They're instilling into them like, hey, learn this, figure out the shapes, and teaching them, stuff like that off a curriculum that is built for if they go to this private school, they get a grant that pays for their first year tuition. So at least every kid that where I'm from gets a chance to say that they got some education. And so I did that. And but sadly, my mother-in-law, which she loved me, my mother-in-law passed away about a year and a half, no, 2 years into the business. So then we didn't really get to grow it the way we needed to before she passed away. She had lupus.
Mm.
And that took a big toll on my wife at the time. She lost her mom. I lost her because I've known her, a long time, and it took a big toll on the business. And so what we ended up doing is I had to take over, and at that time we had about 27 kids, and all the employees is the my mother-in-law's kids, and they don't want to go to work because their mom just died. And I'm like, well, I gotta go to work, because we gotta open up daycare because we told these 27 families that we're gonna be there for them regardless of our problems, and they never understood it. So I did that. I was working 18-hour days. I was finishing up school. I had a daycare. I didn't realize all the pressure I was putting on myself during my 20s. But I was like, I'm gonna finish school because I shouldn't have started it, and I really don't need school because I'm making $6,800 a week. I'm cool. I'm living. I'm making more money than a lot of the people that I know, But I was blowing it too, stupid. But I was okay. But I wanted to finish school so I can always have the degree just in case. So my pivot in that was how I changed steps. I was like, all right, I can't hold the mantle of running a whole school by myself because nobody was showing up to work. So finding those employees was so difficult. Even if I was paying them more, finding employees was so hard. And so we ended up going back into a home daycare.
Mm.
And then that was a lot of my 20s, from that's what the business I had. And in the midst of that, I started like little bitty companies. I would flip cars every now and then on the side to make some extra money. I had a meal prep company I started in 2015 because my wife at the time was getting into fitness influence, and she was starting to get all sexy and stuff. And I was like, you need to be the whole thing of fitness. You need to not just be the working out, but the eating. Because the eating is the hardest part of trying to look sexy. Because most of us don't have the discipline, as you can see. And so, because I'm a desertarian, I love sugar, and I have to fight that sugar demon all the time. But now I'm fully aware of it, so it's not a problem now. But anyway, so I started a company to fund us being able to eat healthy, to eat right, really her to eat right, so she can build this business. And so I had that going. And this was like 2015 all the way up to I tried to start that podcast I told you about. Mm-hmm. And so I was just trying different things that I felt like I was good at, and I felt like that I can do and what I can offer people. And most of the time what I can offer is just telling them the hard part of trying to create. And so I did that for quite some time. We was making good money, taking care of the family. And then around 2019 I truly found real estate. It was about the end of 2019. And so now how old was I? 29? 29, I truly found it. So 2019, I found this piece of land. My wife is like, I'm sick of you trying to figure out all this stuff. She was like, it broke my heart. But she was like, just get a job in Nissan and let's just do that. I said, oh, I would never do that. I said, I'll do it for a means to an end, but I know that I'm going to do something amazing. I just have to keep on going. So I tried this real estate stuff. So I found some land. I'll save you the long, unbearable story. I found some land, and God blessed me with the ability to connect with the landowner and make a real good connection with him. But then I didn't have no investors, so I had to pray, and God blessed me with some investors. I got to meet good people. I run into good people, and then I'm just like, hey, this is what we can do. We got that land. They offered me $100,000, so now we're in close to 2020. It was like August of 2019. I met with the investor. God blessed me to get me in contact with the investor. we went to go see the land, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I want it. I'll give you $100,000. Just don't worry about nothing. Just give me the contact." I said, "Whoa, if you give me $100,000 today, what is it really worth?" So I said, "Hey, it's okay. I want you to give me 10% of whatever it is you're gonna get, and then teach me how to actually do this." Because it was on a whim. It was kind of like the blessing, what people call luck. And the guy was like, "You're smart." And then he was like, "Okay, I'll show you." And then I went through the process of rezoning it, got rezoned for 81 units, condo units. And that was my entry level, my claim to fame, my first real estate thing. Rezoning 6.5 acres of land to 81 units. And there's a fast track. There's a lot of little pieces in there, but that's how I got to this point to even be able to talk to you.
What is this point? Where are you right now?
No, I still do land development as far as real estate. Anything right now, I'm focusing on the wholesaling to generate capital so I can start doing my own developments. But anything from wholesale to development, and then all the other little businesses that I have going on.
What are your businesses?
I have a tax software.
Okay.
It's called Tomahawk Tax, and it's basically like in quick terms, TurboTax is for the individual, so you can do your own taxes. Tomahawk Tax is for you to be the business. And so you can start a business and you have the software, it's the same software. So everybody knows there's only like 5 softwares truly. Everything else is kind of like NBC, ABC and all that. Everybody, it's all the same. It's just how you can work the products or how many accounts that you have to have cloud based, I have unlimited accounts. So that's how we're able to sell to unlimited people that want to open up a tax business. I have a trucking company, but it's new, just started 3 months ago, and we're going to call that Pink Panthers Logistics or Transportation or something like that. And I don't know if you know who the Pink Panther is, the cartoon, but he never spoke words. He was only about the action. Yep. And he just moved to the beat. He moved to his own beat of the drum, trying to show the differences inside of what life is supposed to be. So if you watch the cartoon again, I know it's old, but he brought color to everything that he stepped into, and he didn't say nothing. He just did it. So
the Pink Panther is a powerful guy, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Powerful guy.
But that's the main few things that I do as far as like trying to generate and help and build and help other people and make money for myself too, because I like to do that.
So you have the real estate, you have the tax software, and you also have the trucking company that you're now building. That's awesome. I think like that's a common thing on entrepreneurs that I have to constantly battle. The shiny object syndrome.
Oh man,
that is a very difficult one. My story with my commercial cleaning business, the reason why I stuck with it no matter what was because a comment that my parents made, well, my mom and my stepdad, when COVID hit, I was the company that I was working for, they fired like 142 people. I was one of those. I was a director in training for that company. And it was like a complete, redirection of my life. So I met this person while working at that company that they were making a lot of money with a commercial cleaning business. And I was like, how are you making this much money? You're not that smart. Like, how is this possible? So I told my parents, hey, I want to start this business. Mom, can you help me? I think it was like $2,000. And by that time, I was broke, completely broke. And I said, listen, I will support you on this. You have to pay me back. But I know that you're not going to stick with it. I know.
Your mom said this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I know you're not going to stick with this because you're always jumping from one thing to another thing. And when they said that, it had different dimensions in my mind. Number one, if my mom is saying this is a big flaw of mine. Big flaw. I need to tackle this. And it also hurt my ego because at that time I already knew what it was required to be successful. I just had it integrated in my life yet.
Yeah.
So I started this company. I was the only employee. I was the one doing the cleanings, cleaning toilets. And this is a guy that came from, a semi-what good position in the Dominican Republic to coming to the United States to be a janitor, and cleaning toilets, which is, there's nothing bad about that. It's a very honorable profession. But for me, it was just a huge shift. And I just kept on going because of that comment. I was like, I just don't want that to be me ever again. And the beautiful thing about sticking with something of consistency, no matter what, just sticking to one thing and keep going and keep going. Now that business has grown a lot and we have very popular names as clients and it's doing incredible. And I was able to also have my brother work with me. Now he's a part owner of the business. But that would have not happened if I would just kept on going with the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
Is such a, it doesn't matter what level of entrepreneurship you are, it will always chase you. Once you reach $10 million, the shiny objects are gonna be how to make 5 million right away. But if you just stick to your own thing and you keep iterating on that thing over and over again, all of that is gonna come. You know the movie The Matrix?
Yes.
You know the woman in the red dress?
No.
The woman in the red dress is a very famous part of the movie that it's being brought up by entrepreneurs. I think the first time I heard it again was from Alex Ramosi. And it's Neo's walking on the street and his mentor, I think it's Morpheus, is talking to him and like mentoring him. And Neo just sees this hot, good-looking woman in a red dress, and she passes by him, and he got distracted. He forgot what his mentor was saying. So his mentor says, "Hey Neo, did you got distracted by the woman in the red dress?" And he was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And he said, "Look at the woman again." So he turns around and look at the woman, and it was not the woman anymore. It was the agent, the bad guy, pointing a gun to his head. So that's literally how shiny objects are.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just a way to, it's just basically traps. There's a book by, you know who Napoleon Hill is? There's a book by him called Outwitting the Devil. Very good book. Very good book. And I think that's one of the traps that the devil puts for you is distractions. It's one of the biggest ones that keeps you never getting to where you have to go. Yeah. I
agree. I think that the biggest distraction, especially for a man like me, it is the woman in the red dress, because this was my line when I first got a divorce. And I truly believe this. The most beautiful thing God ever created was a woman. And no matter what you're looking at, no matter the landscape, no matter the beach you're on, no matter where you are in life, when a beautiful woman passes by, and if you're anything like me, or you're gonna at least be like, hey, let me just take a look. Let me just take a gaze at it.
Right.
A respectful gaze at that beautiful creature, that the most beautiful creature God ever created. And so I do agree with that. When you're saying the distractions, and then also the shiny object, the distraction, is because I felt that way for a lot, like with different businesses, and the way that I was able to combine, the things that I'm doing, and I still haven't arrived. I haven't got to the point where you are, but in the place where I'm going and the traction that I'm feeling now, it's kind of like when you see those cartoons and the feet are moving, and then when it hits the ground, it takes off. I'm feeling a little traction on the ground of it's taking off. So the focus is on taking the real estate, putting it into the tax business, and then taking the money that I make, because the truck business make money every day. And I needed to create that, because the pressure of holding in real estate is what keeps people out of it. They don't know the holding costs. And I tell people all the time, when you do this, you better know the costs. It's a biblical wisdom. Whether you believe it or not, it's a biblical wisdom. You got to count the cost of what it's going to take. And sometimes the most expensive cost is the time. It's not even the money. And holding for 45 days so you can make 50 grand, 100 grand, 200,000. It sounds good, but until you don't get your next deal for 6 months, etc. And so the trucking is going to build that daily money so I can keep funneling into this, and then the software is going to build the money that I can be able to control passively to where I can get a sale right now. And I didn't even try. It's just with good marketing, and that's where partnering with the right people and having the right marketing and getting the right visibility for the tax software, it'll make money without me even trying, because people just go online because they're trying to find a solution, and I'm also trying to provide one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's kind of my, because I used to chase everything
Right.
that I seen.
Right.
Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
but let me focus. And if I can streamline 3 different industries, but it's business is business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a reason for why. And when you understand why, you're able to figure out how. And that's how I'm able to juggle those things, because I meet people and I say, hey, look. And then next thing you know, I'm able to go further and keep the pace of it.
Right.
And so I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. It's money. You always have to produce money, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always envied people that can have a good job.
Oh,
Um, if you're able to have an employment and you still keep your entrepreneurship spirit, I think that's the best hack ever.
yeah.
Just thinking back when I came to the United States in 2015, if I would have had just better skills to be a good employee, like a good job, a
Same.
regular job, I would have avoided so much pain and uncertainty and and hardships, honestly, because my spirit is I'm an entrepreneur, but I was so unequipped to have a job, and I'm still am. I'm completely
Unemployable.
unhireable. Yeah,
Yeah.
unemployable. Like
It's
there's nothing you can hire me for because I just the only place where I will be of service will be if you put me next to the CEO and we bounce off ideas of where the business is gonna go. Because I know a little bit of each aspect of the business enough to fire someone or to hire someone. Um, but if I would have just been able to have an employment and make decent money where my life is at ease, I can
mm-hmm.
save, I can know that my bills are being paid, and then I can focus the rest of my time into my entrepreneurship ventures. It would have been
Yes.
way easier because the life of an entrepreneur is dark. I was telling my wife yesterday that um, for most of my entrepreneurship career in the last 10 years, 7.5 years of it was just darkness and sadness and will I ever make this and battling a lingering depression of like, am I going to be able to produce enough to sustain a family or to help people? And I feel like that's a difficult path to walk that I don't recommend everybody if you don't have the mental strength for it.
Yeah.
My recommendation is always go hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
have something that makes you money, whether it's a job, a gig like Uber, working in a
Yeah.
bar,
Something.
whatever, and half of the time invested in your business because going full on like I did, it drains you, man. It
Oh,
really drains you.
you find out who you truly are. I think it's a gift and a curse.
Hmm.
It's it's the 0 and the 1, the dark and the light of life.
Hmm.
Whenever you find out who you are, you will actually figure out more than a lot of people who get that experience of the comfort.
Hmm.
Because in comfort we relax, but in controversy we try to figure out how to. If you really are, if you
Hmm.
figure it out, you really conquer. You really overcome things, and when you overcome things, there's what they call the enlightenment, to where you're like, hey y'all, it's hard to be around a person like you, because you want to help. You're like, hey, you don't see what I see. And that's why I'm unemployable, because I I don't want to do all that. Like you said, I want to talk to the CEO, because I figured out that same piece, and with what you have, and if we can match some of my ideas or throw some of my ideas away, we're able to be stronger to actually scale it up more to help more people.
Hmm.
So I think that, yes, if you're not ready for it, if it's not in your spirit, if you haven't done the right methods of prayer or whatever it is that you believe in and how to do it, I know that who I believe in, that's on you to figure that out as a person. But if you do decide to do it, Do it with the safety. But if you have that spirit, go the crazy way, because plan A is plan A.
Mm-hmm.
Plan B aborts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that if you know it, if it's in you and you know it, take the shot. Take the chance, because eventually you'll run into the people to be able to complete the team that you needed, actually, so you can be in position, because not everybody's Jordan. You're Jordan until you meet Jordan, you know what I'm saying, of your team. And then it's like, okay, I'm Jordan right now, but I met Manny, and now I'm willing, hey, you're Jordan, I'm Pippen, let me play D. let me get rebounds. I'm Rodman, if you know who that is. I don't even know.
I do.
And so
I do.
it's like, once you get that team and you know who you are, you're able to be like move down a space or move up a space. It's like, well, actually, I'm the point guard and I'm a passer to Jordan, and that thing works. So if you have it in your spirit, you'll figure it out once you get on the right team. And then next thing you know, here's the championships, here's the playoffs, here's more notoriety, more visibility, and you're able to push that because of the spirit that was in you to drive, regardless of whatever it was.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Allowing A players in your team is crucial. Very important. And I've always said that I'm able to have the vision for a business. I know what is required for the business to do well. I'm just a horrible operator. Horrible at operations. And I've been blessed with my brother in my life, where he runs the cleaning business so good. He always comes to me for what is the next move, how we should do things. So it's a great compliment. I think whenever you get a business partner, that person needs to have skills that you do not have. It has to be complementary. If you both have the same skill set and knowledge, then one of you is not needed in the business. And it's been good for me in that way with my wife too.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, it's a blessing. We have a social media business, and she is a monster at operations. She is just like a switch watch. It's like, consistent every day, same thing. Doesn't matter. She does it. She has that. And it's the same thing. We balance each other out when it comes to that. So you are now in a stage of your life where you are getting all of these projects to breathe life into, for them to grow. And something that I feel that I want to say when you tell me that is, man, I feel like that has been one of the biggest blind spots of me. Right now, I am completely focused on one project. All other projects are either delegated or I don't want them. Because the way that my commercial cleaning business got success is by purely focus, like just focus. And I encourage everybody and you too that choose something. Once that something grows and only requires your guidance instead of your time, the other ones are just gonna take away from it. And I'm telling that to myself too, because I've been doing it already, but I need to do it even more. I need to do it even more. I have to focus on what I want constantly. So from your side of the street, what are your goals apart from entrepreneurship? Or do you have any physical goals? Do you have any relationship goals? Do you have any spiritual goals? What else are you chasing right now?
That's a big question, man. It really is. Honestly, yes. I want to be a complete whole person. I believe that if all of us figure out a way to achieve that as the human being, it'll help more of what we're trying to do. Everybody's trying to change the world. And then my theory is this: in order to change the world, you have to first change yourself. And that means in every aspect. So as far as physical, I want to get back to how I was, as far as like my confidence in how I look. I look great now. I'll take off my shirt. It don't matter. But that's not how it was, 10 years ago, when it was a little bit better to do it. Never been ripped or anything like that, but more confident in doing that. So I want to address that as far as the 80-20, and that take care of more of the 80, and being able to consume better things for me, and just the physical appearance. Mentally, I feel strong. Spiritually, I feel strong, and I want to stay consistent in that. I would say that's the one thing that, regardless of whatever's going on, I call that the joy of the Lord, because happiness is circumstantial. Joy is in your spirit. You always have it regardless of what happens, no matter how dark it gets. That's the light of life. And so I always want to keep that consistent in my spiritual life and how I walk through that, even whenever I mess up, because most people think when you mess up, you can't recover. It's moment to moment. You don't have to wait till tomorrow to ask for forgiveness. Mess up, ask for forgiveness, move through it, and then stop beating yourself up. Because if you're trying to change the world and you feel like that's your little world that you're trying to change, no matter how many people it is, you start with you, and that's changing your mind. When you change your mind, you change your action, or you change your talk. And once you change your talk, you change your walk. And then once you go through that, you'll meet people that are doing the same thing. So now, relationally, what I'm trying to attract is people that feel the same way, whether they say it differently. We all, 2 plus 2 is 4. No matter who says it, the truth is the truth. So whenever you get around like-minded people, I want to be around those people naturally and build those relationships organically, so that way I can call you a friend and not just a business partner. So I want to have people that are in business and are of the mind that I have. We can have different opinions, as different thoughts, but we're able to build a genuine relationship because our hearts are on the same track of trying to be the best and willing to do the work to be the best, even if it's challenging me, even if it's saying, hey, I see what you're saying, but you should do this because this is going to actually make you better. I want you to say, like, I seen when you was talking to Alex, it was like, you ate cake. I can see if you ate fruit, but you ate cake. If we were on a path, and he took that and said, okay, well, now he knows that the next time, yeah, I ain't gonna do that because I'm gonna have to answer to these guys. You see what I'm saying? And that's how our friends like that are attractive to me, but I want to grow them organically. I have this issue whenever I'm doing it. I like to tell people straight up, hey, let's figure this thing out. Tell me what it is that I need to grow in, because I want to grow. I want to be the best emotionally, relationally, financially, spiritually. I want to be the best, not just average, because average, I'll do that when I'm getting old. If it never works out, I'll do that when I'm old. But right now I have the energy to be the best at what I can be and change the little world that I have, no matter the magnitude. So that's what I'm working on every aspect of who it is in this thing called wealth, not just money.
Yeah. Yeah. The belief system, man, is a powerful thing. So I like using this example. I always like to try to make points across with metaphors and imagery.
Mhm.
Imagine these two guys are hanging out in a farm, in a event, and one of the guys lives in a neighborhood where all of his friends around him have shooting range. They all have guns and they shoot. So in the afternoons, you'll hit shots here and there, people just practicing. And this other guy came from the war, where gunshots mean something completely different. So at the event they're on, they hear a gunshot.
Mhm.
Are they going to react the same?
No.
They have a completely different meaning associated to gunshots and an experience. So it's the same thing with entrepreneurship and beliefs. Whenever you change your beliefs, your entire life will change.
Yes.
But first, you need to understand what beliefs are hurting you and what beliefs are going to serve you.
Mm-hmm.
And a good way of doing that is, okay, well, I believe this about this. Okay, let's think through it. Is this helping me? How is this helping me? What is this preventing me to do? Does this come from fear? Does this come from confidence? Does this come from abundance? Where does it come from?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second way that you can change that is study people that already have what you have and what are their beliefs. Because every software has a different purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And each software, the only difference between them is how they were coded. So an input for one software means something completely different for the other software. So depending on what you want, you have to adapt the software of your brain, which is your beliefs. And just one belief can completely change everything. Like it did for Brian, my friend, marketing. I need to do this and I need to invest in myself. And failure is a positive thing. The moment he had those beliefs established in his brain, he was able to grow his business. One of the beliefs that helped me a lot was there's no business idea or no type of business that is bad.
Right.
The owner of Panda Express, billionaire, he literally just sells fast Chinese food. That's not a bad idea. So if a friend of yours tells you, I want to start a Chinese food place, some people might think, dude, what? Why would you do that? So any business can make a lot of money. And that is something that helped me a lot when I was thinking about my commercial cleaning business. I will say, wow, I'm just literally just cleaning places, cleaning toilets. But then I started studying people that had trash businesses and they were gazillionaires from it. People that were in the porta potty business, literally just transporting feces, and they are gazillionaires. So there's no business. You can also go to luxury stuff. There's no business that will not yield the results that you're looking for. Usually, the problem is not the business; is the person behind it. And most of the time, the problem is not really the person itself, but the beliefs that person holds. It's all about that. Now, how fast can we make this process of beliefs to changing our beliefs? I think as fast as you can absorb new knowledge and how open you are to receiving those new knowledges. That's why I think reading books is such a cheat code. Such a cheat code.
That's true.
Because there's three types of people in this world when it comes to this. You have dumb people, they never learn from their mistake. You have smart people that they learn from their mistakes. And then you have wise people. Wise people learn from their mistakes and the mistakes of others. And what are books is literally the compilation of mistakes and successes that people that were way more successful than you went through. So why would you go through the same thing when they already have literally a manual that will explain how to go through it? If you're about to take this road and there is a book about the road that you're about to take, read that thing. Now you know where the rock is. Now you know when you see this tree color here, it means that there's a snake around. Like, why would you go through it yourself just to bump into everything? You know what I mean?
I think it provides foresight. So that deal I made with God, it's funny to say that, but about me having to read his word and then I will understand the word of man. Well, that broke off as I got older, and he was like, you're gonna have to start reading. That's what when I say I heard from God, it was the ears of my heart, not some audible thing that happened like Moses in the burning bush. But I had to start, like what you're saying, because it provides foresight. Okay, I know I'm about to go into this. And so how do I stop from stomping my toe? Because eventually the lights turn out in the living room and that coffee table somewhere. And then you don't want to hit it because that hurts. That's the most pain in the world. And so why not read the book so that way the switch won't go out on you as like it normally does. And that's when you build on that after you read the book. Now you connect with a person in a way because like, oh yeah, I've read that book by Napoleon Hill. Oh, I've heard about that. And then now y'all have a connection and then y'all can pair up together because commonality is how you truly build relationships. In every business, regardless of whatever business you do, relationships is number one. How you treat people and how people perceive you is how things are going to get done. And sometimes through books, you're able, I heard you say that you're able to communicate differently because you're able to process differently. And the more that you consume this new knowledge and put it into action, you're able to attract different types of people because they know. People who know, and then they'll bring it, they'll add into you and you add into them. And those laws always work. So it is true what you say about books and being able to obtain that. And if you don't want to read, you drive in a car, listen to it. 25 minutes a day, you spend that for a year, you'll be a baby master at understanding whatever it is that you've been consuming for 25 minutes a day. And most people spend more than that on the entertainment in life. my friends laugh at me because I don't really. I stopped watching football in 2020, right whenever I decided to focus on my business and what I was gonna do in real estate. And it was like, "What? Hey, I don't mind football, all of that stuff and sports and all that." But I was like, it's taking up a lot of my time. To do what? For me to take a couple of shots and give you a high five whenever they catch the ball and be frustrated when they don't. And it's like, bro, you just approved. But I'm like, I want something different. And then that difference would allow me that same time, that 3 hours I was spending, can I spend 10% of that 3 hours on giving to myself as far as reading where I'm trying to go. I need to if I'm going in real estate, hey, Bigger Pockets, start there. A podcast, start there. Man, you want to go into business, regardless of what business, this is what you offer. You offer insight from different types of people so people can see and hear that the consistency is consistency and discipline. And you want people to hear that from different people. So if you're trying to start a business, they watch your show and then you go into, hey, now they're inspired because they say, well, you can't keep on. Everybody's saying the different things and they don't even know each other like that. So it's got to be somewhat true. And that's how you actually get the foresight, through books, through podcasts, through the stories that people tell.
Yeah. A lot of there's a beautiful study talking about people that have high dopamine, and usually there are people that are driven to do things. And one of the behaviors that is dopaminergic, that has evolved throughout human history, is the fact that with the implementation of businesses, the assertion of dominance have taken different shapes. What do I mean by that? Let's say this business owner is trying to get a deal done. He might have more money and more status than the other person he's trying to do a deal with, but because he wants to have this deal happen, he will act as docile and non-aggressive toward that person and agreeable just to win over the business. So that's the most dominant behavior that he can adopt at the moment. He's just not dominating with brute force or imposing his own will at that time, but he's getting what he wants done. So a lot of the success in an entrepreneurship career is what we're talking about, is the capacity to adapt.
Yes.
There's different stages in your entrepreneurship career, and sometimes you are pushed back into certain levels that you don't want to be, but you have to find a way to adapt, because the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
So who could have foreseen that the pandemic was going to happen? That took everybody for a spin. Nobody knew, but the only people that were able to keep going were the people that adapted and shifted their strategy. Instead of saying, oh no, this is the way that I do this is who I am, and they attached their image to a certain behavior or profession or certain job, they don't have the flexibility to just stay afloat. Like for me, I went from having an office job with paperwork and sales and all of that to literally gripping a mop and a broom, cleaning toilets and cleaning different places. Like, you need to have the capacity to mold your identity several times in your entrepreneurship career.
Yes.
And then attach your identity not to your circumstances, but to your skills and who you have built. If you attach your identity to what you're doing in the moment, you're going to have a very fragile identity that is going to be destroyed by everything. You have to stay unbridled, like unbridled. Is that how you say it? Unbridled. Unbridled. You have to be able to stay, no matter what happens around you, you have to have the same identity towards you, attached to you. And that confidence obviously only comes when you have tested it several times.
Yeah.
And if you never test it, you never really know who you are. You never really know who you are. One of the times that I realized, like, I started to know myself was when I moved to the United States by myself, and I was living in a shed. You know what a shed is, where they put the tools for gardening and stuff. And this shed was converted to be like a living space, but it was the tiniest thing that you can, like, my bed Yeah, my bed was a twin bed, the smallest bed you can have, and it was like 95% of the space. I had literally just a tiny,
You have to shimmy just to
yeah,
stand up and take off your
l-
boots or whatever.
literally. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, and for me, being so alone, not having anybody around. I'm used to the Dominican Republic. We are on top of each other. Like
Mm-hmm.
my grandma is always in my house. The aunt just came by. Then we go eat at my grandma's, and this it's like always surrounded by people, my friends, whatever. And then being lonely, going to work for 11 hours, going to the gym, going back home, and then realizing that I'm okay by being by myself. But I didn't know that about me until I tried it, until I
Yeah.
tested myself.
Yeah.
So is no matter what happens in entrepreneurship, it's gonna always test you. Once you reach the 7 figures, there's another challenge.
level.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
More
over
money,
and
more
over.
problems, more problems, more money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you got to try to solve them.
Yeah, correct. You want to choose your problems wisely.
Yes, you got to choose them
Yeah.
wisely. It's so true.
Yeah. So what problems are you facing right now
In my business or
in
just
your
in
businesses?
Honestly, trying to get to that point to where, you know, that turning of the feet
Mm-hmm.
to get the real traction is the marketing.
The
Being
marketing.
able to get more visible, because with what I'm doing in the business and each thing that I'm doing, people don't believe it. Meaning this, in the tax software, we don't charge any renewal fees. That's unheard of. And so the first thing, whenever, you know, you cold call, you cold email, they don't even believe it exists, because they're saying, why would you do that? Because this company charges me $2,800 a year. This company charges me $1,800 a year. How can you able to do that? Then what's the catch? And then I say, well, here's the catch. There's a per return fee. And then that's normal in every software also. And then they say, what's the per return fee? It's $8. And then they're like, well, now there's no pricing problem. But they don't believe it. They're like this. Oh, it's just you just are some scam. There's no way that you can do this. And I'm like, yes, there is a way, because the software is already, I don't have to pay anything for it. I just don't want, I'm not trying to get everything from you. If I generate this and create enough liquid, I'll be okay. I just want you to win, because
Right.
if you grow your business, that $8 adds up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you want me to charge you $30? Why do you want, because that's the average price, $32 per return. ProConnect charges $34. I guess I shouldn't say the company name, but it's charged $34 per return. So if I own that software and then I resell it to somebody else to use, now what I got to charge them? $42. You see what I'm saying? For anybody to make money. So since I've already cut out everybody, so why am I going to cut you out? You're a part of my business. If you grow, I grow. If I grow, you grow. We all win. And it's the same thing with the trucking. I don't overcharge for, you know, my drivers make money. Well, I only got one driver now because I got one truck, but once we get licensed, we're gonna have more trucks.
Right.
But my driver makes $8,000 to $10,000 a month.
Wow.
That's why I said that, you know, the business is generating money, but I spend most of them on my maintenance and my driver. I only get, you know, out of all of that, I get maybe $2,000, and I split it with my brother. And I'm like, I'll rather do that.
Right.
And make sure my driver stays good, because that's a good amount of money. And they get to have two days off. So in that business, and then drivers don't believe it whenever because I'm just doing a soft low pitch just to see how many drivers I can attract. Because once the license get approved, I already have people that's ready to work. Mm-hmm. And then I can dispatch, you know, the drivers out to wherever I need them to be, from Texas to Arizona to Florida, etc. And so they're like, why are you doing this? Because I own the process. I want to share that with you. Because if you grow and if you're able to take care of your family, guess what you say? Well, you won't believe the lies that's been told that nobody's trying to help or trying to be a change. Somebody has to change it. I want to change it. I'm like, come a part of this. Let me show you what to do. Same thing with real estate. When I buy a property, I'm like, hey, look, I want to make sure you get money. I can buy it from the state. I already got the list. I know your name is on it. Mm-hmm. I get it off the tax deed. I know you owe property taxes. Here's the motivation. Instead of these guys coming there and giving you the lowest bottom, I know a dude did a $500,000 deal and only gave the person $2,000. I'm not making it up.
Wow.
It was in Seattle, Washington.
Wow.
And this is not old. This was last month. This was in July. This is new. This is today, like now in this time. And I'm like this, why would you not? I would have offered at least 85,000 for the person, for the family. It's like, why? I'm gonna just give it to the state. The state only want the property taxes paid. I don't care about them. And I'm like, I get that. I know the viciousness of business, but if you can give to people, why not? It don't hurt you. The money's still in the deal. You just don't make that extra $80,000, and I'm okay with that. And most people are not.
You have the long-term vision.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. And the most important thing is that you are adhering to your values. That's the most important thing. You're staying true to yourself. Sadly, in business, it doesn't matter if you're good or bad. If you're good at business, you're gonna do good. You're gonna win. Yeah. So it's the same thing with our employees with the cleaning business. We teach them how to be so efficient and so effective in their cleaning that they're on average paid around 23% more than the average cleaner. And they make a lot of money. But we train them so they have the capacity to do that. So instead of them spending 8 hours in a cleaning, with our methodology of cleaning, they do it in like 6 hours, sometimes 5 hours.
That's good.
And now they make more money. They have more time for their family because we don't pay them by the hour they spend there. We pay them by task, like this. Yeah. So they decide how much they want to make. Obviously, some days they're going to take longer. They don't feel as good, but I think it's just part of it. Man, thank you for coming. Yes. This has been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. How can people find you?
I guess my social media is, I think it's at Mr.KD Cheatham.
Okay. At Mr.
Yeah. At Mr.KD, and I'll pop up. I'll be the first one to pop. You'll know me.
Okay.
I'm the only one there.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Thank you
for coming.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
It's an honor.